It's your show.
Excellent. You mind? All right. Sorry for being a few minutes late. Had a few technical audio difficulties. I always say that audio is way harder than AI. It's a true statement. All right. But with no further ado, you are watching live Twitch Pitch, the very first pitch competition on Twitch, where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote on the company that you like best. Every episode, two companies will pitch and compete for the title of the best startup. The best company each season will win a grand prize of $5,000 and $100,000 of Amazon credits. First, the rules. We'll all watch the company as they present their pitch for 5 minutes, and then we'll bring them on live for us to ask questions. After that moment, we will take viewer selected questions from the stream. So as you're watching the pitches, please start thinking about what you would want to know from the companies. In the end, the audience and the judges will all vote on who would actually invest in. The question you're asking yourself is, would I invest in this company? So just like we do at our venture fund, Candace will have 2 votes, I'll have 1 vote, Alexis will have 1 vote, and the audience will have 1 vote. Both companies tonight can move to the next round. They're not pitching against each other, so to speak, but only 6 of the 12 companies you see will move to the next round. All right, and tonight our judges include me, Brian Brackeen, General Partner at Lightship Capital, former CEO, Kairos Facial Recognition AI Company, former Appler, former IBMer, and ladies.
Gotta unmute myself. Candace Matthews-Brackeen, also General Partner at Lightship Capital, founder of Hillman Accelerator.
And I'm Alexis. I'm the associate of the fund, and I help with deal flow, picking all of the participants for this competition.
Excellent. So with that, we will watch our first pitch, Musicbuk. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because I'm not sure if Marlon's ready for us with all of our technical difficulties. We might want to give him a second.
We can
to get everybody on. What was the thing that we were going to talk about today? We could use some of that now as opposed to later.
Well, we can talk about Peer 1.
Oh, Peer 1?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's Musicbuk.
That was Nadir Kashimov, a Musicbuk instructor who also happens to be a prize winner in the Paganini violin competition. For context, the Paganini violin competition is the #1 and most difficult violin competition in the world, and he uses Musicbuk to teach his lessons. Hi, I'm DeMarcus Davis, co-founder and CEO of Musicbuk. I, like Nadir, am a violinist, and when I started playing the violin, I was at one of the lowest points in my life. My parents had lost their jobs, we lost our home, and I lost my voice. The violin for me became my voice, but when my orchestra teacher saw that I wasn't progressing as quickly as other students, she recommended I find an outside music instructor. For millions of people just like me, they want to learn how to play music, but they need an instructor to do so. But finding those instructors is difficult because the instructors are performers and not managers. Musicbuk connects quality music instructors with students virtually. Our instructors hail from some of the top organizations around the country, including the Metropolitan Opera, San Francisco Symphony, Atlanta Symphony, and they represent the top 1% of musicians in the country. In addition, what gives us our advantage is our instructors themselves. Each of our instructors goes through a rigorous 4-step vetting process, beginning with a background check. Next, we look at their professional experience, followed by their educational background, and finally, their student success. Now, when instructors join our platform, they pay annual membership fees, and this is how we make our money. But additionally, we also get service fees from each lesson. And with our students averaging over 36 lessons per year, our annual customer value is around $400. And we have a total addressable market of over $12 billion. Now, when looking at our competition, it's very interesting because there are a lot of people in the virtual music lesson space. However, our #1 advantage over our competitors is that we have the highest quality instructors in the market. And in addition, our instructors demand higher pricing because of this. Now, our competition is highly commoditized by price. So if you were to check out most of their websites, you would see something that looks similar to an Upwork or a freelancer, where the person with the lowest rate is most likely to get more lessons. Now, because our instructors demand premium pricing, we have generated a significant amount of revenue in a short period of time, over $150,000 to be exact. We ran a pilot manually pairing instructors and students together. And I joke sometimes that we ran it a lot like a drug cartel. We booked lessons and I would pick up cash from parents in parking lots. But this broke down to 30 students booking over 1,000 lessons in under 10 months. And with an average cost of acquisition of $4 and a lifetime value of over $3,400 and massive 99% retention rates, we knew we were on to something. Now, following this pilot, we secured our first B2B deal with Adidas Sound Labs, who paid us to teach music lessons to students. This is important because this was a part of our social impact strategy. And this created a model for us to go after larger corporations who in turn pay for music lessons for communities, and it in turn drives our revenue numbers. In January of 2020, we launched the Musicbuk mobile app to automate what we did manually in our pilot, pairing students and teachers together. Now, since mid-March, we had to shift our go-to-market strategy to focus on virtual lessons. But this resulted in tons of new student signups, thousands of dollars in revenue generated, and over 100 new instructor applications, many currently on the application and many in our pipeline. But we also realized that these instructors have additional skills beyond just music lessons, such as Ableton Live, Pro Tools, and music theory. But, I'm going to pause right there because I've said we a lot, and I should probably explain why we're the team to take on this problem. I'm a graduate of the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, having worked with the San Francisco Symphony and been a guest lecturer at Stanford University. My CTO and co-founder, Seth, is a graduate of Georgia Tech and the founder of Crescendo, a music technology startup that he grew to over 1 million users in under 2 years that was ultimately acquired by Ultimate Guitar. Since these transitions, we have seen a larger opportunity for growth in the space of on-demand virtual coaching. For us, this means taking the masterclass model that focuses on one-sided communication and transitioning to two-way virtual communication between an expert in a subject matter and a prospective learner. At Musicbuk, we believe that every person deserves the opportunity to learn. We believe that not every entrepreneur wears an E on their chest, but that some are called instructors, teachers, and coaches. And we believe that a great coach or a teacher can provide a light at the end of the tunnel in uncertain times. If you believe what we believe, join us on this journey so that we can make Musicbuk the on-demand service for the world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And here's the two Marcus.
Okay, so DeMarcus, I will start by saying I think there was some video at the beginning that we missed. So I'm sure very close to you there's a violin.
Ooh, Candace.
Oh.
See, if you bring back for the next, group a little bit, I got you.
You got me. Okay. Round two. So if you make it to round 2, we're going to get to hear this violin. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about customer acquisition, how that's going right now. I know that you're dealing with parents, you're also dealing with schools, but have you been able to kind of speed up the process with schools now that COVID's going along?
No, so what's actually taking place, we've had to completely shift our customer acquisition strategy. So where you go to a school and focus on being there with them today for customers, right now, and experiencing severe drop on that. So days aren't running because those same parents are homeschooled now. And then music director, Georgia for all orchestra for churches teaching here. So we're actually focusing on young adult learners. Those are our age group of about 30, typically less people. So software engineers, medical students, these type of people are individuals who have instruments, but they now have a ample amount of time at home. And so they're actually starting to take more music lessons. So we're looking at things like LinkedIn as a means of getting them, because these are typically much more analytical people, but they now have the time, energy, and resources to study those instruments that they've played their entire lives. Also, the other side of that is rather than going directly to the students, we're actually looking at strategic partnerships with people like Adidas and other, and other businesses who they fund things like classical music and education. And so we're actually having to reconstruct our model in a way to where we actually go and find the funding for music lessons from these corporations and then are putting a lot of these students on scholarships. Because what we found is with the high unemployment rates, a lot of our students' parents were directly affected. And so when you're trying to keep a roof over your head, you're no longer spending extra money to play an instrument. But we know it's very important to keep that music going during this time, because not only is it inspiration, but for some of these kids, it's a way for them to make income when no one else in their family is.
Alexis?
So can you discuss a little bit about your supplier side of things? What kind of instructors are you getting on the platform? Are you seeing more instructors signing up because of coronavirus? What does that look like for you guys right now? And do you think you'll maintain whatever number you're at right now in terms of instructors?
Absolutely. So instructor-wise, we are growing exponentially. I think since launching at the end of January, we're actually about 5 times where we were. So we had roughly about 10 to 15 instructors when we launched and going into February. And we currently have listed on the app over 70. And we have a application pool of over 100 that we're still currently vetting. As far as that instructor pool goes, these are the top musicians in the country. So we currently have members of the Metropolitan Opera, San Francisco Opera members, the principal violist of the Atlanta Symphony, and other ASO members. So these are quite literally the top of the top musicians in the country. And we're going for even higher numbers right now because we've started to see interest from students who are interested in studying with major artists who would typically be touring the world right now, soloing on their instruments, but they're at home. So what are they doing? They're getting on social media. They're making concerts in their homes where they're putting videos together. And so we're actually starting to onboard some of them so that they can teach our students. So it really kind of goes back to that whole idea of the masterclass model, where we are taking the preeminent masters of music in the world and we are connecting them directly with a student base who's looking to work with them. And we only see the numbers going up from here. Excuse me.
So DeMarcus, all the best companies in the world have the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And you've got to build piece by piece. People who are like can see it, but they can do the day-by-day work. I think you've proven here that you guys are doing the day-by-day in the trenches, hand-to-hand combat to get this business going. But what's the big, hairy, audacious goal for this idea?
So we want to take this model and we want to distribute it over multiple verticals. So we've already been exploring the idea of like private chefs. There are a lot of parents at home who they don't typically cook, or they're not the best cooks. So what are they doing? They're trying to learn how to cook, and restaurants are closed. So one of the an example of a vertical that we're looking at is private chefs, because restaurants have been closed now for months now. And where are these guys getting income from? So if we could take a master chef, I don't know what, say Bacchanalia is one of the top restaurants here in Atlanta, and connect them, with a housewife here in Atlanta who might have 3 or 4 kids, but wants to prepare a great meal, but the family can't go out. It's another option for them to get a cooking lesson at home, but it also makes it interactive and it makes it inherently more valuable. So ultimately for us, the way we become a unicorn is we take this model and we just apply it to multiple verticals, and we continue to grow this company.
Awesome. And so I am going to play moderator here and read the questions from the chat. There's a question here from S. Lewis Charles. There you go. What are the key differentiators
So the number one differentiator between us and our competition is the quality of our instructors. So none of our competitors in the market have any type of vetting system. So that means if you went and bought an instrument tomorrow and decided you wanted to teach it, having never played before, you could create a profile and you could go teach on most of these platforms. Some of them are starting to institute what they call qualifying programs. And this is where they do a verification similar to like an Instagram verification, where they just verify that you are who you say you are. But beyond that, there is no qualification. In order to get on our platform, you have to go through that vetting process that I mentioned. So education, professional experience, student success. Not only that, though, we actually institute a pricing guideline where none of our instructors can go below a certain price. What that does is that stops our instructors from having to price themselves lower and lower the value of lower their value in order to get students, and it allows them to set their rate, and then they don't have to worry about other people undercutting them. So for us, it's all about maintaining that value that our instructors bring to the table, and then we're also paying them much more than any of our competitors. Our closest competitor right now takes 15% cut of the music lessons. We take 0. So really, there is no comparison when you look at us and when you look at our competitors.
Another question from the crowd, from Tech Culture. What is the proprietary piece of this business?
We don't really have any proprietary. We don't have any IP in the business. The thing is, we were the first to do it like this. So it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, first mover advantage. Google doesn't have anything particularly proprietary in the beginning either. They weren't even first. They're just the best, like you guys are. All right, this looks like there's no additional questions from the crowd. I'll point you guys to the Twitter poll. There's a link in the chat. So if you look for the Lightship Capital account, we've tweeted out the link. Would you invest in Musicbuk? Vote there. All right. Thank you so much, DeMarcus. Appreciate it. All right. So I'll have a quick one by one conversation. Who
are you starting with? Me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's been a lot of growth with that company, and they've really been able to pivot and move around. So in full transparency, we met this company last year for a NewMe class in January 2019. They were pretty early on. The company was, fully manual at that point with the matching, as he mentioned. His pitch was way different. I would say his confidence level has always been there, but it's even greater now that the company has grown. I can honestly say that when I first met him, I didn't see the vision the way he saw the vision, and now he's able to explain that in such a way that I think other people are able to understand the value of the company. And so for me, I mean, I personally have seen a lot of growth with this, and also am starting to see the vision of what he was doing, like actually bringing real professionals onto the platform. That makes a huge difference. People who are actually vetted, that's what I'd prefer for my child. So now that he's really cracking the code, I'm excited to see the movement.
Like Alexis.
I think coronavirus was definitely the best thing to happen to Musicbuk. And his ability to capitalize on that so quickly and make all these little adjustments with the platform to be a completely online and virtual system has been incredible in such a short amount of time. And I'm really excited on the social impact side of it. I don't think, no one in the comments will know this, but I'm a child whose life was saved by musical theater. And so I think it's great that you can always provide new opportunities for music and integration into the arts, particularly when it's being cut out of school systems on a larger scale, and you can continue to capitalize on families and students' desires to keep that in their educational programming, even when on a larger scale, it's being cut back across the US.
Yeah, I feel like Lexi's answer is definitely my answer. COVID-19 for certain businesses is just a driver. I was talking to a founder earlier today, and unlike a traditional recession where it feels like all of us are kind of sinking at the same time, this feels a little more kind of jagged. I mean, most people are having a rough time. However, some businesses like Amazon are going through the roof. Grocery stores, they can't hire fast enough. That was an area that was kind of contracting over time, and now they're seeing their best quarters ever, kind of because of COVID. And we keep buying toilet paper over and over and over again for whatever reason, right? So there are certain businesses, and I think Musicbuk fits in this group, that can do very well in these pandemics and should see, huge growth every time there's an issue. And of course, we don't want any more issues, but every time there is an issue, you expect them to do even better, which is for an investor, kind of like a safe bet, right? You want to kind of move your chips around in these kind of new times. Where can I put my money that's safer? In this scenario, certain kind of businesses are better than others, and I think Musicbuk fits that criteria.
Yeah, I can also imagine a place where, since we're going to be missing out on summer camp this year, that maybe parents are looking for additional ways to give their children an experience. So, there may be an opportunity for Musicbuk to fill that gap for summer camp and beyond.
Yeah, yeah, and to that point, it's hard to push to someone and say, you need this, you need this, you need this, right? It's hard to convert someone who isn't looking for a product, right? But when you're searching for a product and you find it and you're like, oh, you know what I found? Even though it's been SEO'd and put in front of you, you have this sense of like, oh, you know what I found? And then you're going to tell your friends about it because you found this thing online, right? Called Google. So this is a real opportunity for them to make out on SEO too.
You're telling me that I'm not discovering some of those companies? Like, I discovered earlier there's a new pajama company, and it looks like a business shirt on the top with a collar, but it's pajamas on the bottom. Like, I don't know why we need that, but I mean, I discovered that, I guess.
Yeah. Targeting doesn't exist. You're right. It's all just completely discovered. One last thing, Curtis. Excellent. So, last chance, vote there at the link if you would be interested in investing in Musicbuk. And now, let's go to our next company, QuicWit.
Waiting for the motion graphics to show up, and it's going to be like, lightning bolts, and I don't know.
When was the last time you played a game that was challenging, exciting, and rewarding? Maybe a long time ago, maybe even never, until now. QuicWit is a trivia gaming app and digital marketing platform that introduces players to physical consumer products through daily challenging trivia questions. We ask multiple trivia questions every day. The first person to answer wins a prize mailed directly to their house, no strings attached. Our motto is play trivia, beat the competition, win the prize. You have 15 minutes to answer one of our questions. We do give you a heads up 15 minutes beforehand to let you know that it's coming. But it does happen randomly throughout the day. So it could be at noon or it could be at 9 p.m. Yes, you can use the internet. No, it will not be that easy. You will not get this in 2 seconds. Trust me, we work hard to make sure that these questions are challenging, but also still fun. And more importantly, there's always a new prize up for grabs. You can always jump into the app to see what the next prize up for grabs is. But as much as we're that fun game for the consumers, there is a QuicWit for businesses because we're more than just a game. We're a platform where you can come to promote your products. So new products, old products, and even products you want to keep moving on the shelves. You can also raise brand awareness with QuicWit. So imagine sponsoring a trivia question. Imagine having thousands of users and eventually millions of users coming and scouring your website, your content to learn about your company in order to get a leg up on a competition and get the questions right. And most importantly, product sales. Within the QuicWit app, we are actually sending all of our players directly to your product page so that they're seeing the product on your website. We have the competitive advantage because there's no mandatory pay to play. We have fast and reliable shipping. Our players win something that's actually tangible. And it's really, really fun for a lot of our users. And that's one of the big things that we wanted to focus on is being spontaneous and making it so that, hey, anyone can join and play and making it a really trusted experience so you don't feel like you're playing against bots or bidding. We're really chasing out the 58% of those Americans that play games on their smartphones. And out of that 58% of those guys play those puzzle games. So we're really chasing just over 12 million users as a serviceable, obtainable market. Our business model has 4 main legs. For consumers, we have in-game purchases, we have premium subscriptions, and on the B2B side, we have sponsorships of both prizes and questions, or questions actually. And then you can also do some add-ons if you so choose. Because we have our good analytics, you may decide you want to pay a little bit more to sponsor a question on a particular day or a particular time within a day. Our traction has been amazing so far. We're 100% bootstrapped with a mere $200 monthly marketing budget. We have 70% monthly active user rate. We're in 49 of 50 states. We're growing 68% month over month. And we ship prizes to over 300 states, including Hawaii. And we got our first customer just 3 months after launch. At our core, the Jeopardy alumni are crushing it. They are addicted to it. And they really make up the core movers here, along with some trivia night organizers and professional hosts, and even some Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game show alumni. We're a pretty creative and technical founding team with a lot of experience building apps and products and digital marketing solutions. Fun fact, our lead content creator was actually one of our power users just a couple months ago, and then he decided to switch. And next thing you know, now he's on a team, and we're up to 7 from the 3 that we started with. We won the Founders Live pitch event. We actually struck a deal with UPS from startup. We won a couple AWS and Google Cloud Platform credits. We've been runner-up at MIT Startup Palooza, featured on Product Hunt Demo Day, and we've been featured on the Buzz twice. So we've been fairly busy when it comes to news and events as well for a small team. We're looking to raise $2 million to give us 18 months of runway so that we can invest more in our growth. We have a lot of different features on our roadmap that we want to release, but we also want to get more PR and marketing now that we found our product market fit. And of course, we want to expand our team by just 2 more. We like to stay lean, but we think we can accomplish a lot with a lean, strong team. So I would say welcome to QuicWit, the world's most impulsive trivia game, and thanks.
All right, here's a team from QuicWit.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good to see you. Great pitch.
Thanks.
So I will allow Candace to go first.
All right, so tell me what's next after QuicWit. So this is, I'm gonna probably guess this is going to be your first game. What is the plan for the future of the company? Is it a family of games? Or are we gonna be right here in this lane the entire time?
No, it's actually not a family of games. I think we can keep building out QuicWit for a good while coming. One thing that we actually learned is we're actually looking to start to separate out the pros from the non-pros because of the traction and the way it kind of grew. We're like, wow, people are really, really good. So we're actually going to start to make it more of a tiered experience so that you're not getting in there and playing with somebody who just won 5 games on Jeopardy. So for us, we're looking at that strategy, and we're really focusing on the B2B front pretty heavily as well, to position ourselves as, for consumer hardware companies, a viable option to use their marketing budget on. So we're really focusing on developing those B2B relationships and recurring revenue, as well as tiering the game to give the pros their own little world where they can compete at the highest level.
I have a question for you about HQ, right? Which was a phenomenal both success and failure, right? It's kind of like equally on both sides, right? So when you look at that experience, what do you take from that, and how do you think you insulate your business from some of the cons that they exhibited, but also learn from the pros as well?
Yeah, I learned a lot from HQ. Actually, when I had this idea, when I really started to put it down to paper and draw it out, there's like, my friends were like, hey, this thing kind of already exists already. And I was bummed. And I was like, bro, wait, there's enough space for both of us here. I don't need to be number 1, but number 2 is also pretty good. So I watched them very closely. And I think I even stole some users from them at some point, late night Twitter trolling, just trying to do whatever I can to get users to our app. So one thing I took away from them was I think they did very well on the PR front and the marketing front to get the buzz going. I think after a while, over time, it got a little bit gimmicky, and they lost trust in the users, and that was the biggest thing that I saw. And when you're doing this, people really trust you, which is why like we pride ourselves on support. We pride ourselves on talking to our users. If you ever see us on social media, people message us and say, because I know you guys care, here was a typo. Or because I know you guys care, give this prize to someone else. And I'm like, wow. So we built a culture of trust, and that experience kind of goes a long way and resonates with our user base. So I learned from them on their mistakes, but also some of the things they did positive, but really gaining the user trust and keeping it exciting without being gimmicky or stepping away from what made you popular in the first place is really what resonated with me.
Alexis.
Peel back a little bit more for our judges and our viewers, the B2B side of this. And I think last time we talked about it, I called it your Trojan horse strategy. But just let us know a little bit more about how that works and why that's so important to the success of this business.
Yeah, so a couple jobs ago, I was a director at a digital marketing agency here in Boston. So I'm pretty familiar with how the inner workings of digital marketing and budgets. And my premise was, you look at QuicWit as, let's call it a billboard or a commercial, but just a lot cheaper, just lead generation. So I looked at it as if I can build something with a lot of users and send them, in one button within the app, you just hit the prize button and it's basically an iframe where you're on somebody's website. For us, it was, hey, we can bring you, let's call it 1 million users. Hey, we can bring you 1 million users on Wednesday at 3:00, right? Or between this time frame. You can change this website, you can give us a URL, you can price it, whatever you want to do. But we really wanted to focus on, hey, we're getting people here to look at your product. And if you look at a marketing funnel, we're not starting at the top of the funnel, working our way down. We're kind of coming in right at the middle saying, people are now learning about it. And we recently just did user interviews. And one example is a company called Rocketbook. And our users love it. And they give them a shout out and say, hey, I learned about Rocketbook from QuicWit. This is awesome. And that was the experience we're looking for. So as we did our user interviews, we're actually teaching people about products that don't exist. I learned that because I'm a techie. So I go back home and my family's like, hey, here's this thing called Netflix. I'm like, Mom, that's been out for like ages. What are you talking about? It is not new, right? So so I realized that, I live in the tech world and I'm on the news all the time, but not everybody is. So for me, the play was introducing people to tech gadgets and other novelty items. And we curate everything. So we curate every single product we have to make sure that it's going to look good, it's going to feel good, and it has the right look and fit, from kitchen gadgets, again, to like sous vide cookers to drones. Christmas time was really crazy because people were like, I want to win a drone for my kid. And so it was really interesting that you learn about the product as well as you just start exploring different products. So our goal is to put that in front of, put those users in front of businesses and let them sell their product, and not really us, but really to cut into that funnel process was my overall goal.
And so I'll remind the viewers, ask any questions in the chat, and we'll get them over to the team here. I'm going to actually take a comment and turn it into a question. Comment is, HQ has terrible player relations, right? And so tell me why, you mentioned earlier, one of your answers, why you feel it's so important to focus on the player and how that really builds growth.
Because everyone makes mistakes, but if you don't try to fix them to the best of your ability, you can lose a customer that can be there with you for the long haul. So I learned a lot. I really did. I watched all the people complain about, the payouts and things like that. So I never wanted to do that, which was why it was really crucial to get the UPS startup deal in place and to have the shipping. It was really critical for us to not do drop shipping, for example, because I didn't want to wait. I wanted people to have that experience. We actually have a custom card that we put in every winner's box. So it's a fully customizable experience. It's like, this card is exclusive, only, you have it, and people taking pictures, they've taken videos, unboxing their prize, and they're pumped about it. They're like, look, I use this hot sauce making kit. So for us, it really is about like, the trust, and we interact with them. We're snarky. We have evil QuicWit. So what happens is nobody wins. People don't win every single game. Sometimes nobody gets it right. And we have this little snarky guy called Evil QuicWit. He pops up on Twitter, and he'll pop up in a game, and he'll just be like, oh, you guys are terrible, or that is not a comedian. And so we look at the answers and we pop something out there. So we really give you a lot of flack too. So we do have a dialogue with our users and players. They challenge us. They message us on, Twitter and Facebook, and they'll say, hey, I have this better answer, or maybe you missing this detail. And sometimes we'll say, hey, we need a correction, and we'll do it. So we really do put the experience first, and we like that that's resonated with the user base.
Literally, as soon as I hang up here, I'm going to go Google, like, what is this hot sauce making kit? I didn't know that was a thing. I'm about to be all over it, and I will get back to you with my excitement. One more question from the crowd. What types of in-app purchasing are you interested in using?
For the in-app purchases, of course, it's a game. So as we grow, we'll look to gamify it. We haven't settled on one just yet. We want to kind of, we do more user interviews, and we want to learn, what's going to be the most impactful. So I wouldn't say I have one just yet, but we have done partnerships. So we have done things where, hey, there's a prize, but it may not be expensive enough, because we actually do try to keep the price range high. So we do partnerships where we'll say, hey, you just toss in your prize as a bonus prize, and you win this product and a bonus prize. So we work with a lot of different strategies, but as far as the in-app purchases, it will probably be to get started. It will be more premium games where you can win something a little bit along the lines of maybe like a $500, $400 prize. So that might be one of the first avenues we start to go towards.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to talk behind your back right now. Great company. Great company. Well, Candace is laughing with Lexi.
I like that company. Now it's hard because we don't, or at least I don't see the companies before they pitch, and it would have been nice to have played it ahead of time. I loved HQ Trivia when it was out. I was frantically getting on there, and I hated the days where it crashed and you'd be there with a million other people. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's really going to matter for some people who are pros, like you said. Being at a certain level. For me, I'm probably going to be a crappy trivia player, but it's still going to be fun. My only concerns with this is some of those things fade out. Though HQ Trivia they made a ton of money on it, and all the gaming companies do. So just the only concern is it just fading out quickly.
Lexus?
I think they're really the first to capitalize on this huge B2B end, in terms of, instead of relying heavily on the freemium model and really digging into in-app purchases to being the majority of their revenue, relying on B2B partnerships and then being able to get them the data and analytics behind consumer feedback and just participant feedback on the items that they're presenting is huge for them. And as big companies are looking to figure out how can we get more into people's heads and learn more about their purchasing patterns and what new things get them excited, this is a great way to do it that I don't think anyone else is really doing yet.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think what the viewers are going to start discovering is that really I am a lot of the bad cop a lot of the time. And so they're going to hear all the negative things that I say after somebody pitches. But, here we are.
She's our Simon. It's funny because I'm going to, again, kind of echo a Lexi point, but which, by the way, this is exactly how venture funds work.
Did you just call her Alexia?
No, Lexi.
Okay.
So the way venture funds work is the associates have all the good ideas, and the partners pretend that those ideas are actually theirs, and they just mimic those talking points for other people and pretend like they're great. Really, the partners have great networks. They can raise money, right? They can do some other things, but oftentimes it's the associates that really drive a venture fund, and they allow the partner to think it's their idea. Good job, bro. That was all you, right? So, but here, at least we know it. So we know how good Lexi.
She's never going to agree with us, ever.
No, she takes no credit for any of these things. But I do think the B2B angle is really, really important. There is it's limitless the number of people that have a product that want that product to be seen by people, and will send one of those widgets to these guys to send out, right? I mean, you're doing it at cost, right? For you, it's a marketing cost. So it's an endless supply of potential winners, right? And then those products and those prizes drive more and more people to the platform, right? And so this is exactly what you want. You want your supply to be free, right? Or very low cost, right? And you want your demand to come from the people and to want that supply. And so it's a really interesting way to get to that result in a way most companies cannot. So if you guys like this company, if you're interested in it, use the link there and log on to Twitter. And the question is, would you invest in QuicWit? All right, we're going to wrap the show here. A couple quick notes. We always want to thank our amazing sponsors, Amazon Web Services, the good people at Twitch for giving us this lovely platform. We've got some new sponsors coming up. PitchBook has been like an amazing help. We really feel it's like important that you guys see the stats for an industry so you understand, as investors do, where opportunity lies. And so without PitchBook, we wouldn't have access to that really good kind of up-to-the-moment data. So very good partners. Got some new partnerships coming on in these coming seasons. Cannot wait to announce them to you guys. So keep watching us here. Keep following us on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. Say hello to Candace on Twitter. Try to find Lexi anywhere. You won't find her because she is completely off the grid. So you're lucky to see her here, I got to tell you. or follow me on Twitter as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on Thursday, 7 p.m. right here on Twitch.
Hey, hold on.
Hey.
Rakeen, hold on a minute. We usually do some banter at the end. We probably need to tell them why we're not going to.
We're echoey, as you see. And because we're echoing, we're not going to do the banter piece, but we're going to save it because we have some good banter saved up. So for Thursday, come see banter. We might get on even a little early, a little bit before.
We're saving our banter. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye, Yeehaw Island.